The medication, especially the mental health medications, the SSRIs, big problem. That robs you. It just crashes it.
You know, and I'm glad that you brought this up because we can't overtly say this in consultation, but in the purposes of an educational setting, I can say definitively,
say it.
Do your homework on SSRIs.
Preach.
Because they are not good for you. Of course, you got to work it out with your psychiatrist. So you can't just go on your own and take yourself off of them. But understand that we live in a society where that's the
sometimes they're necessary, but they are not free of charge. Like there are risks. There are big risks involved.
It's no joke. I mean, we live in a society that is quick to SSRIs because they don't have the standard side effects that we consider problematic, like addiction or, you know, things that we sort of look at and we say, well, that's like going to do this. It actually really goes in alignment with how we view sex as a culture in general. Like, well, your sex drive might drop. You know, like that's a totally fine thing. Yeah, and you might gain weight, you might do, but you know, better than being sad. And they won't really dig. I've seen that sometimes you do have major depressive disorder, and there are definitely a lot of roots to look at that. But you know, I have a really close friend in New York who they put on SSRIs just because it was winter. You know? And I was like,
seasonal depression disorder,
which I have too. But it's a very extreme response to seasonal depression.
Well, think about it though. If you have 7 minutes to take something out of your toolbox and give to someone that is sad or whatever, like, you know, and you know, if you have 7 minutes, like, and you know, the right thing to do is to, you know what, we need to look at your lifestyle. We need to look at your health. We need to look at how, you know, what your diet. We need to look at like how you see the world. We need to look at all of these things in order to truly answer this appropriately. Oh, time's up. I'd love to get into it.
That was my whole. I used my whole time for that.
Yeah, you know, like you can't do that. So like, but an SSRI, you can knock that out in 7 minutes.
Oh, and they do.
They do, and that's my big rub.
I've been through this journey, and I was glad that I was so terminally willful because they have tried to put so many things in my body, and I stuck with diet and exercise. Yeah. And most of them were just age related. Most of them were just typical things you go through as you're going through your journey of development. And I encourage, which we do every episode, we encourage people, do your homework and don't take for granted that the people that you work with always have your best interest. Don't take that for granted. I mean, we always encourage people to challenge with questions, really think through, but don't take for granted that you're going to go to the doctor and they have taken time to consider, or that they even have enough information about you to really give you much of anything. You should take the feedback and then do research and find specialists and cross-reference. And you will find that over time you get into a rhythm and a flow, and there is more information even accessible, you know, just directly. You don't necessarily need to, but enough to be able to look and say, ooh, because what you'll find more often than not is that when you can start with just looking at the side effects of some of the things that you might be prescribed. And just that will be like, my doctor didn't mention any of this. Yeah. they skipped over that part.
Or ask. It's always good to, whenever you see a doctor, ask, what can I do on my own? You know, always, every single time, I don't care what the condition is, you should always be asking that. Yeah.